All pray first. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prastaya Bhutale, Srimati Siddhaswarapananda, Paramahamsa Itinamini, Vajra Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Thank you very much, George. Haribol. So, if you've got any questions, you can use the mic or you can just write it down on the comment section. Okay? Haribol.
Haribol namaste, sir. Si Flo.
Namaste, Florence. Go ahead.
Haribol ito, sir, example, we meet an atheist. How can we effectively refute his claim that God doesn't exist or there is no God?
Well, first and foremost, it depends, if that atheist is really hardcore. Hardcore talaga siya na atheist. You don't even need to talk to them. Yeah? Because no matter how you try to explain to them about the reality of the presence of God or Krishna, they wouldn't accept it anyway. So it's best not to. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also stated there, no, that if you happen to have somebody who is an atheist, talagang hardcore atheist, it's best if you just avoid talking to them. But for instance, if this atheist, is sincere about what life is, it's not. He is atheist, but at the same time, he would listen to explanations of the reality of God. No? So, depende na lang yan. It all depends on you. How you try to psych up that person. If the person is, you see, sincere in his heart, then you can talk to them. Like the very first, ako personally, me when I approach these people, I first tell them, why don't you believe in God? Most of the atheists, they would say, we don't believe in God's existence because we don't see him. I don't see him, you don't see him, everybody here in this world cannot see God by their physical eyes. I mean, so why do we have to believe in something we don't see? Diba? So first I ask them why, and then they say this answer, no, that to see is to believe. But I tell them, okay, that's a good point, that's a valid point, but do you believe in the existence of the mind? And they say, yes, the mind is a fact. But you tell them, if the mind is a fact, are you able to see the mind? Do you see the mind? Of course, they don't see the mind. So if they believe in something that they don't see, they are being hypocrites. Because why is it that they believe in the existence of the mind or conscience? You may ask, do you believe in conscience? They say, of course there's conscience. But can you see the conscience? Can you see conscience? No. Everyone in this world cannot see what conscience is, but deep within their hearts, they know that there is a conscience. Diba? Because from the time they were a small kid, you know, they were brought in a family, even if the family is basically an atheistic family, but they they are able to tell their family members, no, you shouldn't do that. You have to have conscience. So they hear about the word conscience, and they believe in the word conscience because they know that there is a conscience. But at the same time, you don't see conscience. So why do you believe in something that you don't see? If their only answer is, I don't believe in God because I don't see God, they have to be they have to be consistent in their reasoning in their reasoning uh, statements. They have to be consistent. If they're not consistent, then uh, they're being very, very inconsistent, and it's not logical anymore. Most of these atheistic people, they are very much into logic. They're very much into science, like that. So that's the first thing that I tell them. Even gravity, they couldn't see gravity, but they accept gravity. Even electricity, they can't see electricity. They can't see it, but they believe in it because there is some characteristics in the presence of electricity. So you tell them, okay, you only believe in one energy, and that is material energy. But basically, fundamentally, there are two fundamental energies. You have the material energy, and then you have the spiritual energy. Okay? So in this world, we are surrounded by uh, by these two energies. Actually, one is called one is called uh, matter, and matter under the influence of life. Yeah, for instance, this is matter, right? But this is also matter. But the difference between this and this is that uh, this is matter under the influence of life. There is life here. That's why I'm able to communicate. This doesn't have a life in it because it cannot communicate, it cannot interact. Yeah, it is very passive. Yeah, you box this, nobody will say aray or what. You try to get a knife and try to threaten this. Nobody will reject. No, nobody will get afraid because there is no life in this. But this one, because this is characterized with life. Okay, this is matter under the influence of life. That's why, if you held a knife on me, I will have to defend myself. Correct. So, but both are matter. This is made of matter, and this is made of matter. Now, they're saying that there's certain characteristics that will uh, that will convince me that there is a soul. Yeah, what are those characteristics? They cannot tell. But we, because we are students of the science of identity, and also we have a bona fide spiritual master. We get our knowledge and wisdom from the revealed scriptures, no? The Sastras, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. We have a very, very uh, fairly excellent um, excellent information about the reality of the soul, the reality of God. Hmm? So pareho lang yan. They don't believe in God and they don't believe in the soul. Because both God and soul, they cannot see. Yeah? But basically, the if you ask the scientists right now, many scientists believe that there are certain characteristics of uh, matter under the influence of life compared with just this matter only. For instance, matter under the influence of life is characterized by uh, thermodynamics. Yeah. In other words, this is thermodynamically unstable. This is thermodynamically stable. Okay, because this doesn't get to rot. This doesn't get to rot. But if this body, if the life particle leaves the body, this body now is considered thermodynamically unstable because this will rot 3 days, 4 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. This body, in fact, just a few days, this will already smell. Yeah, because the life particle is already gone. This doesn't have it. Even if you cut this into four, yeah, it will remain the same. Stable lang siya. But both are matter. Both are material energy. Yeah. So actually, there are so many different. There is actually uh, seven characteristics. Seven characteristics of matter under the influence of life versus matter only. So why is there Chamacolis, why is there characteristics? Why are there characteristics? What is so special about the characteristics of this matter under the influence of life and that matter only? Because if there was no differences, okay, then you can safely say that there is no soul, there is no consciousness. But this doesn't have consciousness. This doesn't have consciousness. No matter how you try to get a knife and try to destroy this will not feel pain. This has consciousness. Okay? So, in other words, while there is the influence of life in a matter, there is a there is a there is a interaction and there is communication that will happen. Okay, that's and you can find the differences, no? These seven characteristics uh, in the book of Srila Prabhupada called uh, Reincarnation Explained. In the book Reincarnation Explained, and also in the Who Are You book, you get to find these characteristics present. Yeah. Kasi you have got to be ano uh, you have got to be when you show them something, you know, this atheists, they they're very materialistic because they only accept matter. They don't accept spirit as an energy. So therefore, when you try to explain to them, you have to explain to them in scientific terms. In scientific terms. Yeah. So another example is this is um, the reality of the soul, because they don't believe in the existence of the soul, right? So they say, how can you explain to me the existence of the soul scientifically? Many religious organizations, even the major religious organization, cannot explain the soul scientifically. They cannot. That's why they're saying that's why they're saying God is a mystery, or the soul is a mystery. We simply have to accept it. Yeah. But as students of Vaishnava principles or Vaishnava philosophy, we say that we can explain the uh, reality and existence of the soul scientifically, medically. How? Why is that? How is that? Well, we learn from Srila Prabhupada, from our guru, from our param gurus, that for every 5 years, this body changes. Every 5 years, all the material particles of the body change, including the cells. Yeah. So our bodies are made up of cells. Even the outer layer of our body, called the skin, is the largest cell in the body. Yeah. It changes every month. Every month you have a new suit of skin. Yeah. Every month, yeah. And then the lining of your stomach, 6 weeks lang yan, right? And then all the different parts of the body will change um, every so often. For instance, the our skeletal system. You might probably say, "Oh, my skeleton remains with me until I die." No, that is scientifically unsound if you say that, because there's all the all the skeletal system of the body only stays there for 1 year. Oh, why is it that I feel the same? I feel the same skeleton as I had, like 5 years ago. Yeah, but that skeleton you're holding right now is not the same as of 2 years ago, or even just last year. It is now totally made of a new uh, material particles. All the atomic and molecules found in that skeletal system is now gone. Last year's skeleton, the skeleton of your body is now gone. This is now made of a totally new material particles. Now, if every 5 years there is a 100% turnover of molecules and atoms happening in the body, that means that your body 5 years ago, or 7 years ago, or 8 years ago, is not the same body you have on now. Correct? Because all of the material particles making up your body have completely changed. Now, if that body is no longer around, like if your body is now, this is just an example, yeah. If your body is now 40 years old, 40 na, okay, and then you can safely say that the body you had 20 years ago is not the same body you have now. How is that possible? Because all the material particles making up your body, including your organs, including all the cellular uh, um, uh, parts of your body are completely changed. Walang isang material particle that will remain in that body. So, 20 years ago, you're looking at the mirror and you're so convinced that, wow, this is me. Yeah, you're looking at your form in the mirror. This is me, like that. That was 20 years ago. Okay, so right now I ask you, where's that body now? Where is that body now? Some people will try to, say that, oh, you just extended, sir. It just expanded. My body just simply expanded or extended. Now, if you say these words, you will be laughed at by medical doctors and also intelligent scientists. You will be laughed at by them. Why? Because if you say it simply extended, that means that the same material particle is still there but only extended. When in fact, not a single atomic particles and molecules is existing in this body now that was there 20 years ago. Now, what is the constant factor that exists? You're here and you have this body, you have your baby body, then after 5 years, you have your child body, and then after 5 years, here you have your adolescent body or pre-adolescent body. But this remains the same. You are the life, you are the life particle. You are the spiritual entity, that is considered to be uh, unchanging. You are unchanging. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is described that you are unchanging. You are indivisible. You cannot be burned by fire, nor withered by the wind. You cannot be uh, you cannot be killed, even though the body is killed. So you always remains the same. So this constant factor is there throughout your existence in this world. But you only have different bodies. You have a child body, you have a baby body, and then you have a child body, and then you have a pre-adolescent body, and then you have adolescent body, then adult body, and then you have uh, you have an old man's body, and then after that old man's body is old and useless, you simply continue to exist, but this body will no longer exist because who is that constant factor that was there when your body was 5 years old? Dapat, wala ka na ngayon dito. Like 20 years ago, you were looking at your body. This is me. This is really me. Yeah. But if you're going to scientifically and medically look at it closely, you shouldn't be here right now. Because you can say that I am that person looking at the mirror, I am you, that person. That so-called person you're looking at, the body, is no longer around. Wala na yun eh. Why are you still around? What is the link by which you were there and now you're here? That is the presence of consciousness, the presence of the soul, the presence of the living entity. Yeah. So it depends. It all depends on how you try to explain to it. Sometimes people, they are not very philosophically inclined, so you just have to simplify your, what you call this, your explanation to them. No? You just have to simplify. There are so many different ways. You ask them, okay, if you're the body, you should be able to answer. If I ask you questions, you should be able to answer, yes, you are the body. If they are so convinced that they are the body, yeah. So you ask them, are you your skin? Your skin. They say yes. Are you your dentures? Yeah. Yes. Are you your eyes? Yes. Are you your nose? Are you your hair? You know, all of this they're going to say yes. But scientifically and medically speaking, it's not, because the skin is only is all changes every month. You have a new suit of skin every month, di ba? There is another way, uh, which is in connection with the reality that we have a new body every 5 years. You ask them three questions. Three questions. Ask them, do you exist now? They go, of course I exist now. Okay. Did you exist 7 years ago? They say, yes, I existed 7 years ago. All right. The third question is, are you your body? Are you your physical body? You say, of course I am my physical body. Okay. So when they answer these three questions in an affirmative manner, in other words, yes, 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 that means that they are scientifically unsound. Why? It's true that you're existing now, and it is true that you've existed 7 years ago. But it is not true that you are your body. Why? Because the body that you had 7 years ago is not the same body you're wearing right now. Very easy to, very easy to explain that to them. This, if they are scientifically inclined, no, or philosophically inclined, no. Ang problema, yung mga tao kasi, they just have this, so-called faith. I was told that there's no soul. Oh, I was told that there's no God. God doesn't exist, you know. So actually, they are bordering into fanaticism. Actually, not even bordering. They're into fanaticism. What is fanaticism? Fanaticism is something that you believe on, okay, despite the fact there's so much evidence pointing out that this particular thing that you believe in is uh, is scientifically and medically impossible. But you still believe in it, You still believe in it. That's fanaticism. Okay, Florence? Napahaba yung sagot.
Haribol, namaste, sir. Thank you, sir. I-review yun
Namaste,
lang
Flora. Haribol, namaste.
naman who are you. Thank you very much, sir. Haribol, namaste.
Haribol. Actually, you can find all this in the book called Who Are You by Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. If you read that, and then you really assimilate what is being said there in the book, yeah, it's very easy to defeat an atheist. But at the same time, we have to be very, very, when we talk to these people, hindi tayo dapat maging mayabang. Like, uh, we have to, have, uh, we have to show our kindness to them because, they are very most of them are really just confused. Yeah. So compassion is the thing. You've got to have compassion to everyone. So those people who are asking sincere questions, you have to be very, very, kumbaga, dahan-dahan yung pag-answer natin sa kanila. Yeah. Okay. So there is another question here. Question from a student. We often hear about the 7 deadly sins being mentioned in media. Fictional stories, movie shows. Are there really just 7? Is there a hierarchy to how offensive each of the 7 are? Is there something else that a person should avoid doing that is actually really offensive to the Supreme? Okay, that's one question. And then there's another question, which I'm going to read later. So let's just focus on this first question. Uh, Sins are, yeah, I agree that the sins, they have different levels of gravity. No? For instance, it is a sin to steal, but it is more sin when you commit murder. Yeah, that is the same. That is also a sin. You know, when you try to set fire on another person's house, for instance, that is a sin. When you try to kidnap another person's wife, yeah, that is a sin. So there are many types of sins with different levels of gravity. But nevertheless, it's a sin. Yeah, it's a sin. So amongst the 7, 7 deadly sins, ano yan eh, yan yung greed, gluttony, lust, yan yung mga sins din yan. Because when you lust for another, when you lust for somebody, lust doesn't just mean lust for sex, but it can also mean lust for the temporary names and forms of this world. You know, when you look at certain gadget, wow, this is the latest iPhone. Grabe, then you start to lust on it. When you start to lust on it, all the fibers of your body, yeah, because it gets controlled by your mind, by your mind's desires. So, so all the fibers of your body get so attached with that something that it doesn't get out from your mind. Like it's always there when you wake up in the morning. It's always there. And then when you're at work, all of a sudden it comes in again. That like that. you know. And then when you go home, it stays there, stays there, stays there, and it actually distracts you from doing something that is worthwhile. Because instead of you doing something that is worthwhile, your mind is disturbing you. Yeah. So that is lust. Lust. So it's not only lusting for sex, but lusting for the temporary names and forms of this world. Yeah. So uh, greed. A person who is greedy can never be giving, because for him there is no uh, concept of what is enough. For instance, everybody feels that this is enough, and then you're right here. Everybody's here. You try to move yourself up like that, yeah. And you really think that when you reach this point, that you become satisfied. I'm already satisfied because I've reached my destination. I've reached my goal. goal. But the problem is that problem is that our desire is not material. Our desire actually is because we are everlasting. Yeah, we are eternal living beings. So therefore, our mind's desires are also everlasting. So when you reach this, you might think that it is already enough, but after just a few days and moments, you change it. You now have this desire. You want to go up again. There is no ceiling in what your greed can do. Yeah, so that's why it's called sins, because you don't feel satisfied. Everybody is dissatisfied in this world. Everybody is unfulfilled in this, despite the fact that they have reached their so-called goals. Yeah, because once they reach that goal, mag-iiba eh. Once they reach that goal, this you are here, and you have everlasting desires. So you go up and desire. So you have to raise this up. You have to raise this up. So therefore, you have to climb back again. Okay. So now, as I've said, there are many types of deadly sins. It's called deadly sins because you know uh, it's not good for a person to hover on a certain sins because it will affect their lifestyle. You know, they will never achieve peace and harmony because they will be distracted by their new so-called desires. And their new so-called desires, once they reach it, wala na naman kasi it's endless. It is endless. So how can it be satisfied? How can it be satiated, that desire? Because we don't lose desire. The desire is natural for the living entity. Yeah? It's not bad to desire because that is part and parcel. That is part and parcel of the living entity. It's like water and wetness, no? You cannot separate desire from the living entity. We always desire. But it can only be satiated and satisfied when you desire for Krishna, when you desire uh, for your loving relationship with God, with Govinda. Once you desire for God, because He is the complete whole, yeah, and He is the cause of all causes. He is the source. He is the source of all sources. Yeah, everything is in Him. So therefore, when you reach Krishna, you don't you don't desire anything at all. In other words, you don't desire any material things anymore because your desire is completely fixed on Krishna. And that is the only way for a person to truly be happy and satisfied, by linking himself with Krishna. In other words, developing our loving relationship with Krishna. Always praying to Krishna to give us strength so that we could love Him more and more each day. Love Him and serve Him more and more each day. Yeah. That kind of a consciousness is the natural condition of the soul. That is where we all belong, that type of consciousness. So there is another question here. What are the qualifications that are needed to get qualified in a Harinama initiation? And what is the difference between Harinama and Gayatri initiation? There are two types of initiation: Harinama initiation, and the other one is Gayatri initiation. Uh, Harinama initiation, usually the spiritual master will tell you, you have to follow certain rules and regulations, you know. You have to practice following certain rules. You have to follow the four regulative principles. Now, the four regulative principles: uh, no meat eating, no gambling, no illicit sex, and no intoxications. Okay, intoxication will include all types of intoxicants, including including tea. Hindi yung mga herbal tea, ah. Herbal tea is okay, but yung tea, yung kamukha mo, Lipton tea, because it has got some substances there that can color your mind. It's like coffee also, we don't take coffee, yung mga regular coffee. Although like myself, I also take coffee, but herbal coffee, herbal. Okay, uh, so these four you have to follow. Okay, you follow these four, and usually when you're in front of your spiritual master, you're in front of a bona fide spiritual master. The spiritual master will ask you, "Do you follow the four regulative principles?" And when you say yes, and sometimes Srila Prabhupada will say, "Okay, can you give me the four regulative principles?" Because I have experienced that. Uh, there was this lady who said that she really wants to become a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and of course that is Harinama initiation. Srila Prabhupada asked her, "Do you follow the four regulative principles?" Yes, Srila Prabhupada. What are the four regulative principles? She cannot even she cannot even say the four. I think dalawa lang yata yun na ano niya, yung pangalawa yun. But Srila Prabhupada's mercy is so unconditional, that despite the fact that that lady forgot the other two, he still initiated that lady. Maaari na natakot lang ba? Paminsan, when you're afraid, when you're fearful of something, your mind is so locked, it doesn't work properly like that. Sometimes it's like that, and Srila Prabhupada understands that. But that is the main thing, that you have to follow the four regulative principles, and then you also have to follow the do's and the don'ts. What are the do's? The do's is you have to chant certain number of rounds. For instance, like if you're not yet an initiated disciple, you give yourself a number of rounds. So the purpose is that you stick to that. You stick to that number of rounds. Yeah, when you say that, uh, Krishna, I promise to finish 8 or 10 rounds, 8 or 10 rounds. Yeah, uh, in my daily rounds. So you stick to that. Okay, some students would go 10, some students will go 12, some 14. Because most of the initiated disciples, Srila Prabhupada gave them 14 rounds to finish. Like, for instance, myself, I was given 14 rounds. You chant 14 rounds in the beats. So, I never fail doing that, because that is the instructions of the spiritual master. If you want a connection with the spiritual master, you have to follow his instructions. Okay, so the students, those who are sincere students of Srila Prabhupada, he gives what is known as general instructions. No? So you have to follow the general instruction. The general instruction is that you have to follow the four regulative principles. Okay, you do this, you engage in devotional service, you help out devotees, You do worship, you do chanting, you do kirtan, etc. These are the do's. And then the don'ts is, you don't engage in intoxication, you don't engage in smoking, you don't engage in nonsense activities, etc. You don't go to your friends who are just focused on enjoying sensual gratification, like having parties and having dancing all night long, etc. Like this. You don't engage in those sorts of activities anymore, yeah? Because it stops you from thinking of Krishna 100%, because your mind will be so distracted. Okay, so that is Harinama initiation. If you follow this, then if you follow this properly, you can approach a somebody who is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, whom you respect, okay, uh, and ask him to recommend you to Srila Prabhupada. So that disciple, having known you for quite a time, will recommend you to be a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. So you write your intentions of becoming an initiated disciple, yeah, and then the recommending disciple will also write to Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, I know this person. This person has been very consistent in his spiritual practices, like this, like that. So when Srila Prabhupada reads those two letters, he will uh, consider immediately. That's the way. That's the Harinama initiation. Now, what is Gayatri initiation? Gayatri initiation is you're given a Gayatri Harinama initiation also. When you get initiated, you're given the mantra. The mantra of you have to chant the Ma'om in this particular beads. The mother bead usually that's a Namaon. Yeah, and then the regular 108 beads or 54 beads like that. You have to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. Yeah. So if it's 14 rounds, you have to finish 14 rounds. It's one, two, like that. If it's eight, just finish it every day. If you can't finish it, yeah, you've tried finishing it, but you cannot. There's no point in trying to force yourself on this. Yeah, pray to Krishna. Just tell Krishna, Krishna, I cannot finish the 8 rounds. Uh, However, I have set my rounds. I will only chant for 5 rounds a day. 5 rounds. Why the religion? That's okay. You know, you chant certain number of rounds, let's say 5 rounds, but you have to make it consistently every day. Every day you have to chant that number of rounds. Okay? That is the difference between an initiated disciple and a potential disciple. A student is also called potential because they want to become an initiated disciple. So the difference is that the initiated disciple, they have certain number of rounds that they cannot break it. They cannot go. Uh, can I make my rounds like 8 rounds or 10 rounds? When in fact, Srila Prabhupada is giving you 14 rounds. Some of my god brothers, Srila Prabhupada gave them 12 rounds only, and some of my god brothers, Srila Prabhupada is giving them 10 rounds only. So it all depends on Srila Prabhupada. How you. And some disciples, Srila Prabhupada gave them 16 rounds. Like Japadas, a very good friend of mine, Japadas has 16 rounds. So uh, that is how you consider yourself being being an officially initiated disciple of Sir RadhaSyam, you have to ask for recommendations from somebody you trust as a disciple of Sir RadhaSyam, you know, like that. Okay, so what is Gayatri? Gayatri initiation, you are given specific mantra also. Yeah. Specifically, you chant this mantra for 10 times, 3 times a day. So that's in the morning, noontime, and then evening. You know, so you say you say a mantra, um, given mantra. You're given mantras, okay, and you're given uh, this thread. This thread is called a Brahmana thread. Okay, this is a Brahmana thread. I was blessed to be initiated as a Brahmana or Gayatri mantra, a Gayatri initiation a few months ago only. A few months ago. Yeah. So I, aside from chanting on my regular beads, I also chant on this thread. Yeah, on this thread. So sometimes Srila Prabhupada, when he initiates the Harinama together with the Gayatri already. Yeah, but very few people have received that kind of initiation. A Brahmana is somebody who understands that he is Brahman. I am Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I'm not the material body. So that is a Brahman. Okay. Now, even though you were not officially initiated in Gayatri initiation, as long as you totally live on it, live by it, yeah, become sincere in your service to Gurudev and Krishna, you are Brahman. But Srila Prabhupada is saying that Brahman initiation is also very important because he is giving you this gift. And this gift of Brahman, our Gayatri initiation, will make you more receptive to your relationship with Krishna. In other words, you become more engaged in devotional service. You're able to actually put premium on your relationship with Krishna. You're always reminded, especially when you're wearing your Brahman thread. You know, you're always reminded, and you don't take it out from your body. You know, like this. Okay, so that is the difference, and those are, in other words, you cannot ask for a Gayatri initiation if you are not following the four regulative principles. You're not following the do's and don'ts of spiritual. In other words, to ask for a Gayatri initiation, you have to follow already the do's and don'ts and then the four regulative principles as a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. You cannot just have Gayatri initiation. You must be a you must be initiated Harinama initiation first, or sometimes sabay na yan dalawa. But you cannot have Gayatri only. Okay? Is this clear? Must be clear. Any other questions? You're most welcome, Jana. Okay, so I think we've crossed the finish line, so to speak. Okay, so again, I'd like to invite you again for another round of question and answers on Sunday next week. I believe I will be in the farm at that time. Currently, I'm in Cebu. Okay, so there you go. Uh, may I ask, wala yung mga, wala yung mga ano natin mga kirtan leaders natin. Usually they're here, but right now they're not. Pinky is here. Pinky, would you like to do a kirtan? Eyeball. George, can you hear me?
Fireball, sir, yes po.
Eyeball. Isaac, can you hear me, Isaac? Hina talaga nung microphone ni Isaac ko. Ano kaya i-cure yan, Isaac? Yung mic mo napakahina. Hindi ko alam. Bumagsak ba yan? Ha? Ah, okay. Anyway, you have a very, very faint volume. So, maghanap tayo ng ibang pwede mag-kirtan. Patrick, would you know how to do kirtan, Patrick? Patrick, are you there?
Can do it now, sir. Untransit, sir.
Pardon me? Can you say it again?
Can do it now, sir. Can do it now, sir. I'm in transit.
Ah, you're in classes? Okay, no worries. No worries. So I'll just do the kirtan anyway. Okay? Um, original sound for musicians. This is on already, pero bakit ganun? Try to get my guitar. Can you hear this?
We can't hear it po.
Ah,
Hindi po siya marinig, sir.
di marinig, no?
Yes, sir.
Ito i-off ko nga. Ulit.
Wala po, sir.
Wala talaga. Okay, ano na lang. Acapella. I'll just do acapella. Okay. Ito ngayon, nadidinig yung boses ko, no?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Sodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Sodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Sodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Zira Vanachari Yamuna Zira Vanachari Jamuna Zira Vanachari Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Sodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Sodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jamuna Zira Vanachari Jamuna Zira Vanachari Jamuna Zira Vanachari Jamuna Zira Vanachari Saudanandana Prajajana Ranjana Saudanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Sodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Sodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamuna Dhira Vanachari Yamuna Dhira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Haribol Ed. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya, Nitai Gaur. 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 Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya, Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya, Jaya Gurudev. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shimati Sita Swarupananda Paramahamsa iti namine Raja Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol Namaste. Maraming salamat. I'd like to thank George for the assistance. George, thank you very much. And your family, Mina and Kalkitas. Thank you.
Daghang salamat, sir. Hare Krishna.
Daghang salamat sa Haribol. Deo and Florence. Thank you very much, guys.
Haribol, namaste, sir. Thank you very much also, sir. Haribol, ingat, sir.
Haribol. Mr. Praveen, thank you very much, Mr. Praveen. Pinky, maraming salamat, Pinky. Elvis, thank you, Elvis. Ed and your loving wife, maraming salamat sa inyo for coming. Haribol, namaste. Vien, Tanyada, thank you very much, Vien. Isaac, Cleo, and Krishna Dasi, maraming salamat for coming. Haribol. Patrick Andrew, thank you very much. Haribol, namaste. So, have a wonderful and blessed Sunday ahead of you guys. Thank you very much for coming indeed. I'll see you again on Sunday. Yeah, same time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Praveen. Yeah. Okay. Please take good care of yourselves.